Live from Los Angeles, here's Everyway Woman.
We're back with Women in the Media. Thank you so much for staying with us. Ladies, Barbara Walters got a great interview with the president of Syria, Bashar al-Assad. And is she now the new queen? I say new, but back on top with that?
Well, she's always been on top.
Yeah.
Everybody's followed Barbara Walters.
She's
always been
and she did it in such a professional way as she always does, and I think that's why these leaders want to go to her, because they know they don't feel like they're going to be judged either. They feel like it's going to be very impartial, and they're just going to get these questions in a proper way.
Right. So. And as a journalist, Sehnita.
Well, you know, props to Barbara. You can't go wrong there. But I got to knock her on the fascinating people list. I mean, you know, I was going to say bring up the Kardashians, but okay. They're the real Seinfelds. They've made something out of nothing.
Right.
Okay, I'll leave them there. But, you know, I'm a great fan of Modern Family, but I don't know if the actors are all that fascinating to me, you know? So she's got to bring those lists up, you know?
Well, one thing, she's on ABC, and that's the top ABC show, so she has to have them on.
There you go, there you go.
That makes sense, too.
Barbara Walters is just an amazing, we all look up to her.
Absolutely, absolutely. And too, you know, being a woman.
Yes,
she
made so many strides for us to be here right now.
In a lot of countries, it's difficult for women to come in and do that kind of an interview, so it actually really speaks to her talent and her ability.
And they sought her out because they were like, you know what, she did the interview with Anwar Sadat. You know, they took her seriously. So for her to get that
is a very good point.
Is a big kudos. And plus, you know, she has had everything going against her. You know, they've told her from the very beginning, nope, she can't talk right. You know, no one wanted to be her co-host.
And she's stuck in it. She just stayed right in there.
That perseverance again. It always wins.
I wanted to ask you, ladies, too. There was also a Macy's employee. I don't know if you heard about in Texas, I believe, and she was fired, I guess, is ultimately what happened.
Yes.
And for allowing a person who looked male, not allowing to go into the women's dressing room.
Well, she transgender,
right? But she didn't know that because he visually looked like a male, so she said he couldn't use the female dressing room. So she directed him to the.
Well, I thought it was because of her religion, is what I read. And
part of the reason was her religion, but also too, you know, you don't want men in the dressing room.
Well, if it's a transgender or somebody along those lines, then the policy of Macy's is to allow them into the women's dressing room, and so. You know, she should be following the policy. If she's going to work at Macy's, I think Macy's is right to fire her, frankly.
Absolutely. And, you know, it's about customer service, and it's not about making someone feel bad. It's not about her judgment of if that person is right or wrong. You know, maybe she could have found a way for the person to use, you know,
she could have made some adjustments.
What about my customer service, though, that I don't want some man sit while I'm changing right in the dressing room?
And she could have made arrangements for that.
When I go to a mall, there's almost always entire areas of dressing rooms that are not being used.
And true. And
he could go to that area.
And true. And you can always go to your supervisor for some guidance, I would think, in a situation like that. Can just say, excuse me. So.
I think she did the right thing.
Yeah.
Well, you know, maybe she should work at a church instead of Macy's then.
Well, that's a good point. Well, thank you all for joining us.